everybody. So you've been here, some of you, for 3 days, like just absorbing this incredible high dosage content. And I just want to thank you for being part of this movement, because VR for Change and Games for Change is profound. I was here 2 years ago when I was at the White House, and to see the movement for VR for Change continue to grow has been remarkable. So after some changes happened in January this year in Washington, D.C., myself and many of the colleagues, including Megan and Erica, those that you met today, left. I'm now working on a few projects, one in the developing world and one called REV, which is to develop high-quality content for virtual reality for students. And the thing that I want to leave you with today is a goal. And the goal is to figure out how to collaborate, not just to build content for the consumers and the students that you're trying to serve, but with the consumers that you're trying to serve. These are some of my students. This is actually the first class of the first school that I built at Democracy Prep. We've now built 25 schools around the country. We are now working on building schools internationally. But these were our first students, and the goal was to make sure when they first started with us in 6th grade that they'd succeed in college and change the world. And we needed to equip them with the skills, and in 2005, those skills were very different than they were today. And so today we've had to adapt and amend our model, and we've had to do that by listening to them. Because there is a crisis. We heard earlier today from Megan, from other people, that VR is an empathy tool. And you may have heard this phrase, virtual reality is an empathy tool. It's remarkable for that. But what we need to do is make sure that VR is an equity tool, and that it is actually tackling some of the biggest challenges we have, like the 9% college success rate in America if you're low income. Because reform is not enough. We need a true revolution. And what that looks like is a fundamental shift. We can't just tweak the system, we need to change the system. And VR is the new modality that gives us one of the tools that we haven't had until now to do that, to bring the highest quality teachers into places that they've never been. Whether that's the million students across the country who don't even have chemistry taught in their high schools at all, the 5 million students who have no computer science even offered in the district they attend. And how then can we get those teachers and those students to the places that they aren't right now? Virtual reality is one of the tools that will get us there. And so my call to you today, and what Eric wanted me to make sure that we left this incredible VR for Change community together with, is a reminder that we can't just build for students, we have to design with them. And some of you, if you're building content right now, if you're building tools, if you run a company, you're saying, well, but I don't have a school, I don't run schools. And so my thing that I want to make sure that you understand is there are no excuses for not including students and the voices of the disenfranchised in the design process. And if you don't know how to do that, and it's not something that's natural to everyone, if you don't know how to figure out how to incorporate people that are different from you, low-income people, people from different backgrounds, then the solution is actually pretty simple. You just have to, where am I got the wrong slide in order. There you go. You just have to ask. You have to ask. In fact, when we wanted to teach the President of the United States how to code, we brought in 7th graders to teach him to code. 7th graders from Newark, New Jersey taught the President of the United States to code. So you just have to ask, and the schools and the students and the teachers will listen, and they will come back to help you. There are no excuses for not asking to bring in the disenfranchised voices to your design process, to your thinking. And here's the problem. If we just keep doing the same things, we're going to keep getting the same results. This is data from the Harvard Ed Lab and a professor named Roland Fryer. And he analyzed the things that we've been doing for the last 30 years in education policy in America. We've been reducing class sizes, increasing spending, increasing certification, increasing master's degrees, and he found that they had negative correlation in statistically significant ways with student outcomes. Totally counterintuitive. But on the other hand, using teacher feedback, data-driven instruction, tutoring, and more instructional time got us incredible positive, statistically significant results for low-income kids. And so we have to think differently about what this looks like. And when you design with students in mind and then you ask them what they need, these are the kind of results that we can expect with VR as an equity tool and not just an empathy tool. 86% of our kids are currently persisting in 4-year colleges and universities. 86% of kids who came in with a 9% likelihood are now on the path to success in the American dream because of the education that our teachers gave them, but because we listened to them. We participated with them. We built democracy prep, not generic prep. We actually listened to their voices. And so the last question I'll leave you with is, how do you do this at scale? Well, South Korea did this at scale for 50 million people. In 1951, it was poorer than the countries I'm working in now, in Liberia, and Uganda, and Kenya, and Nigeria. South Korea was poorer than those countries. But they were less healthy than those countries. But in 50 years, They have now caught up with the United States of America. So this can be done if we think differently, if we have a different paradigm. This is the Secretary General of the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon, last Secretary General, and he was taught under a tree in South Korea in 1952 and became the Secretary General of the United Nations and came to give our keynote graduation address because he knew that this was possible at scale. So if you need help, ask. Virtual reality as a tool, there are great resources on our Washington Leadership Academy site. We had Jordan and some of our students, I don't know if they're in the room right now, gave a panel recently. You can ask them for help. They're here, they're around. And there's a virtual reality video about our education process on Vice that you can find. If you just type in Vice virtual reality education on YouTube, you'll get a great 8-minute piece. Our website has a couple of additional pieces. This is my 3-year-old daughter starting off early with her virtual reality work. Because at the end of the day, what you need to do is borrow and ask for help with the people in the communities that we most want to serve using VR as an equity tool, not just an empathy tool. So engage if you have questions. We don't have time for them together now, but I hope that you'll ask me on Twitter so we can follow up and get you the resources you need to incorporate more voices into the VR for Change conversation. This is the president at the science fair being wowed by Joey, who built a marshmallow cannon in the East Room. If we can do that for the president of the United States, we can do it across the world. Thank you.